Hi guys, it's Miss Keys. We're going to go over some basic definitions of some geometric terms. So first one we're going to start with is a point. And a point is a location, it has neither shape nor size, and it's named by a capital letter. So for example, let's say we had this point right here, and we would label it with a capital A, let's say, so a capital letter. And then the way that you would name this is you would just say point A, and that would be it. Alright, next we're going to talk about a line. And a line is made up of points and has no thickness or width. And there is exactly one line through any 2 points. So if you have any 2 points, there is exactly one line that would go through those. So for example, let's say I have point A and point B. And I have a line going through it, and you guys see how with a line it has 2 arrows on the end. That means a line keeps going and going on and on forever. The way that we would name this line, if we had 2 points on there, which you would, and we're going to use 2 capital letters to name it. So for example, capital A, capital B, and then we would put the line on top of it. That means it's line AB. Another way is sometimes at the end of the line they have like a cursive M, a cursive N, and it's usually lowercase. If you have that, then you would name it with a lowercase letter, and you just need to use that letter. So for example, you could say line M. So those are 2 ways that you can name a line. Next is a line segment, and a line segment can be measured because it has 2 endpoints. So, for example, again, let's say we have points A and B. So here's A, here's B, and we have our line segment. The difference between a line segment and a line is the line segment has 2 endpoints, so it ends right there. See how there's not any arrows at the end? That's because it stops right at point A and point B. The way that you would name this one is you would again use the 2 capital letters, A and B. Instead of drawing a line over it with the arrows, you're just going to draw a straight line. That means that it's a line segment. You don't need to draw little points on the end, but just a straight line on the top. Array. Array is a part of a line that has one endpoint that extends indefinitely in one direction. So for array, you would have one endpoint. Let's say that was A. And then you would have the rest of the line. And it would have an arrow on it, because if it's a line, it keeps going and going. And on that ray, you would have another point, let's say B. And the way that we would name this one is we would start with the endpoint, which is A, and then we would name the other point, which is B, and then you're going to draw the ray symbol on top of it. So you're going to start it, it will look like a line segment with an arrow on top of it. When you name it, you always start with the endpoint first and then the other point that's on the ray. Next we have an angle, and an angle is formed by 2 non-collinear rays that have a common endpoint. So below I have my angle, and point A is called the vertex. And the vertex is that common endpoint between the 2 rays that we have right here. So the way that we would name this is we're going to use the 3 letters that are the points on the angle, and the second one is always going to be our vertex. So first we're going to write the angle symbol, That means it's an angle. Then we're going to write in order the letters. So if we start on this end here, think of going this way and then over. So I would name that C-A-B. Another way that I can name it is going back the other way. So I could also start with B and then go B-A-C. Again, A is still the middle letter when I name the angle because that's the vertex. Another way to name an angle is by just saying one single letter, which would be the vertex. So another way I can name this angle is just by saying angle A. Last one is vertical angles. And what vertical angles are they are two non-adjacent angles formed by two intersecting lines. So what all that means is we have two lines and they're crossing each other. And when the two lines cross each other, they form angles. And I labeled those angles 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what non-adjacent angles means is that means two angles that are not next to each other. So for example, 1 and 3 would be non-adjacent angles. And 1 and 3 are actually called vertical angles. So angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Another pair of vertical angles would be 2 and 4. When I think of vertical angles, I think of which two angles are across from each other. So vertical angles, I think of angles as across from each other.